Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Mythic Legion's STAVROS, the Unwavering Big Bad Toy Store Anniversary exclusive dragon guy thing from Mythic Legions. And you guys know I'm not really a Mythic Legions person, it's just not really my cup of tea. I appreciate the line, but I'm not super into it or anything. But you guys are asking me to review these things all the time, and when Big Bad Toy Store asked if I wanted to review this guy, I said yes, for sure, I would be happy to do it. So this was a review sample. However, my reviews, as always, will be completely untainted by the sampleness of the figure. So let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. It's a relatively standard package, maybe not even the best looking package I've seen. I don't know, it just doesn't do the figure any favors with the fire to purple transition. It's fine, it's just not an especially aesthetically pleasing one. There's some reading you can do if you want to do it. I always say no reading with my toys, please. There's a photo on the back, a little bit stylized, looks like some Photoshop might have taken place there, but you can see him holding the sharp part of his sword, and there's some information down there about who worked on it. There you go. And there's a blank part. Okay, so yeah, pretty basic packaging. Let's move on. Let me set it down. Oh, I'm running out of space. All right, here we go. Let's look at the figure. I will put a link in the description below. He is still available for pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store last I looked, so if you are interested, I'll put that down there. Go ahead and grab yourself one. His price point, if memory serves, is 80 bucks. I'll correct it on screen if I'm wrong. So 80 bucks, I think that's reasonable for the Mythic Legions. They tend to be a kind of pricey line, but they tend to justify their priciness in most cases, so we'll see. Alright, this guy stands roughly, we'll call it 26 centimeters. That's being a little bit generous, counting like the tips of his horns going up a little bit. And that's going to be about, I'll call it 10 1/4 inches. Here he is up against Darwin. He's definitely big. He's got some real size to him, so that's pretty cool. Now, let's do a question of the day. Two questions. One, are you into Mythic Legions, or are you just into cool figures, or are you not at all interested in this, but you're just watching it because you're awesome and want to support the channel? And then the second question is, if you are into Mythic Legions, what's up with the proportioning on their characters? All the big guys have really big upper bodies and heads and then tiny little legs. It's really strange to me, and that's going to lead me right into the aesthetic. We'll come back to it though, because I want to talk about some other things first. First thing, his armor, the red armor, is lovely. I love the kind of pearly, it's not really pearly, it's almost like a glossy metallic. It's very cool looking, has a little bit of, it looks like a wash. I mean, it's definitely a wash, and it looks really good. I don't know about these straps though. Where are they going? What are they connected to? What is happening there? That's a strange design choice, having the straps connect to nothing, but it's the red part is very cool. It's a very nice looking armor. We have it on the gauntlets too, and then down here on his shin pads, which are very nicely done. Nice sharp sculpts too, like that. The other thing I noticed is the dragon sculpt is pretty darn good for the head. I don't know about that color scheme with the green and purple around it, with everything else just being mostly unpainted. Like, there's technically some paint. I don't know how I feel about that look. I don't know. He has a little bit of painting down here on his arms, and a little bit throughout the tail and whatnot, but it's not a lot. There's not a whole lot of variation in his color, except for the green and purple on his face. I'm not loving the overall aesthetic. Now, that's a lot subjective. There's a little bit objective about it, but you might love it, so hey, good for you if you do. The mouth does open, so that's an aesthetic thing we have to talk about. We'll talk about it in the articulation. Also, the two different colors, though, in the mouth, so it's a little bit jarring if you're looking up close. If you leave it like that, you probably won't notice, so don't open it quite all the way, and you'll probably be fine. Teeth are painted pretty well. Mouth closes nicely, so that's good. We have cloth goods, soft goods. Okay, I know this was a big deal for the Mythic Legions collectors. Soft goods seem to be a popular thing. I like them in some aspects, like down here it seems alright. They are bendy, but they're very clean. He has a wash going on the armor to make it look dirty. And his soft goods are very clean, untattered, undirtied. They look brand new, fresh off the silk screen machine. So to me it ruins the look, frankly. I just don't see a dragon man with semi-dirtied armor wearing brand new, clean, bright red. It just looks weird. And then it also isn't tucked under the belt appropriately. And you can't, I'm like, you can kind of tug on it, but you can't really do much with the belt. I guess I can really fight with it and hope that it stays there. But to me, it just looks really out of place. It looks like a custom that they didn't finish. Like, it needs to be dirtied up. If it was dirtied up, that would be great. I don't even care about tattered edges or anything. It needs to be dirtied up. And I guess technically you could remove it, but his crotch is not designed such that you want to be looking in there, and without the cloth, I think it wouldn't be hidden very well. So, it's just not my cup of tea at all. I would definitely prefer some sculpted armor on the chest. That would have been way cooler than this, if you ask me. I'm curious what you guys think, let me know. But for me, it's a weird combination of things that doesn't work. And the clean and dirty thing is not even a matter of opinion. Like, you might be okay with it, but it shouldn't look like that. If everything else is semi-dirty looking, then he should be semi-dirty looking everywhere. Except for maybe his body parts, but whatever. It's okay. It's not working for me. The soft goods don't look right, and then the proportioning is just really off. I don't know how Mythic Legion guys, the Four Horsemen guys, think this is right. Like, I get it for ogres or gorillas maybe, or trolls, things like that, but all of their dragons and demons and things like that, everybody's got these giant upper bodies with tiny little legs, and their heads are huge. This guy would have such a hard time functioning. He would be falling over all the time. It's just such a strange design choice. So if you're into it, fine. But for, I think, anybody who's looking in on this line thinking maybe I should get into it, I think it's going to put them all off. The sculpt work is super clean, no doubt. It's got a decent enough paint job, I suppose. The soft goods, if you're into it, I guess. But to me, like, every aspect of this guy is missing something to drive it home, to make it what it should be. It's not working for me. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 for the aesthetic. Those super clean, bright red soft goods. Like, maybe if it was a really dark red or something. It's just not. The figure looks goofy, if you ask me. It looks goofy with the bright red and then the giant head. I could even see the giant arms, but look how big his torso is compared to his little tiny chicken legs. It's such a strange look. So let me know, yeah, if you guys are hardcore Mythic Legions people, I'm sure I'm gonna have like an army, no pun intended, of angry people, but let me know, how do you guys justify this, or what? I don't get it. I have a couple armored guys coming in that I like, that I bought myself, that look cool, and hopefully they look awesome, but I don't know, this guy looks weird. Alright, as far as accessories go, you get some alternate hands. So you get the 2 gripping hands and then 2 open hands, that's fine. You get his mace, which looks awesome. Love the weapons these guys make. And then the sword, which looks even cooler. It's like a really nice dragony sword with some gold on it. I love that. And then you get some caps for his shoulder blades where the armor connects, if you wanted to take his armor off. Which I guess you could do, and I'll show you at the end, but I think if you're going to have him, you should have the armor on. Well, anyway, accessory-wise, 7 out of 10, it's fine. He's expensive as heck, though. I mean, 80 bucks. Like, I would expect a little bit more. I guess. I don't know what else you would have, so maybe not. Maybe some wings. Some wings might sell this guy a little more to me, but he doesn't even have any sort of wings. Okay, so let's talk about articulation, because this is the other thing that I think you Mythic Legions people need to explain to me, because I just don't get it. I understand they're doing new articulation on some newer figures, but this guy, like, what the heck? It doesn't have any real range. Even rotation is like, just, it turns the head to make it cockeyed rather than to actually have him look in a different direction. So yeah, he has an articulated jaw, that's wonderful, and it's okay. I like that it closes up, but his head doesn't pose very well. Shoulder pads connect in the back like every other Mythic Legions figure, so that's fine. Like, I get that a big draw for these guys is the army building, and you can kit bash them to whatever you want, but it makes them look less good without the armor for sure. Because now he's got an even bigger neck, I mean, as it appears. And a strange set of proportions. So let's see about the arms. So you get your full rotation, then you get your hinge. It's just a swivel hinge, so that's it. Like, that's all the range you get out of that shoulder. Full rotation, and then it raises. A single jointed elbow, that's where you get your bicep swivel. So it's not quite 90. And you get some rotation there, and that's it. This is a loose piece, so you could take it off if you wanted. And then the wrists have a swivel and a hinge. It's not even the right hinge for the gripping hands. So he can't swing his weapons. He can only stand there in awkward poses. Alright, okay, I'm becoming less likely to enjoy this figure as we go. He does appear to have some kind of torso range, but it's not the clothing that's holding it. It just doesn't want to go anywhere. I get a little bit of rotation, and that's limited by the clothing. But as far as leaning, it doesn't seem to want to lean. So if it is a ball peg, it's either super stuck or it just isn't. And it just wants to rotate some. The belt is a separate piece. All of this being one piece right here makes it feel extra cheap. That bothers me. Like, those should be separate pieces. That feels lazy. Okay, we have the wired soft goods down here. And because of that, we can move it up and show you. He doesn't have a sculpted crotch. He just has... I don't know. Oh, well, you can see that it's very dark. He just has some ball sockets in there. And this piece right here, but there's no, like, pelvis or anything. It's just mechanical to make it hold together. So you get the big ball socket for the hip, which does allow the leg to go out that far going forward. It's okay. But this looks like crap when you bring the leg forward because all three pieces are all one piece. So it's just, it doesn't feel... I don't know, it feels like they're resting on their laurels with this line. Like, they've established a fan base, and it feels like they're not putting in as much effort as they should be, given the amount of reuse. And I know there's lots of cool, good stuff, new stuff too, but this isn't working for me. And I don't even own, like, I own a handful of them. Limited range in the knee, really, really basic. It does rotate, but that doesn't really serve much of a purpose. And then for the ankle's actually fine, it's a ball hinge. It's a little sticky, but it works nice. It's a good ankle, so that's fine. And then the tail. The tail is a separate piece that just latches on around. It doesn't even really connect. I'll show you if I can pull it off easily. Yeah, it just loops on around that mechanical waist. These figures feel more like a way to make money than a way to make good figures, honestly. And I'm gonna piss off a lot of people saying these things, but what the hell? What? This isn't a high-end collectible. This is lazy and cheap. And then the tail swivels without any real thought for, like, I mean, it's better than not swiveling, but the sculpt doesn't line up with it at all. It's like, and the paints kind of do, but it's just, it feels really cheap and underdeveloped and just a way to add something to the line for people to spend money on without really any consideration for if they should spend money on it. And I'm not faulting the people so much. If you're into the line, fine, but I can't even get that to line up right now. I'll figure it out later. This feels cheap. The articulation blows big time. The aesthetic is good enough. I have to rate the articulation. 4 out of 10. It barely poses. Barely. Not even putting the right joint in the wrists when nothing else is functional is really unfortunate. The tail just floating there and hanging is silly. The neck not being able to move up and down, like, at all, or even to the side. It's all just, it's like they did as little work as possible to reuse as many parts as possible and to cost as little as possible for them. To me, it's a big fat no. This is actually putting me off on the line even more. I'll still get those two knights. I got like one guy that looks evil, one guy that looks good. I don't know what they are at all, but they look cool. And I'll be reviewing those, but this is entirely disappointing. I'm really curious for those of you who are really into this line, how you would justify this. Or maybe you guys just agree with me. Maybe you're like, yeah, it's time for them to do some new stuff. I don't know. But to me, this is kind of like a pathetic release. It seems cool on paper, but the execution is not even close to there. I'm going to give it an overall rating of a generous, because there are some redeeming qualities, 6 out of 10. $80 isn't the most, obviously, and it's a big figure with good sculpt and paint here and there, but the articulation is so bad, and the laziness or cheapness of the design and engineering is so bad. It's like, I don't get it. So yeah, you can put in his extra pieces here. What was I supposed to show you? Taking off the shoulder pads? I don't remember anymore. I was supposed to show you something, but the shoulder pads just come off, so that's what he looks like. And is it necessary to cover up those shoulder things? Like, they're underneath the clothing anyway. That's a weird thing, right? Or are you supposed to take the whole thing off? But it does, like, the whole thing comes off, and you don't want to do that because you can see his mechanical torso. I don't get it. Like, I don't think you would ever want to take this off. You could, I suppose, but you're gonna see all the junk underneath that you're not supposed to see. So I don't get it. The whole thing is just a giant, giant, giant miss. And if that doesn't prove to you guys that my reviews are honest, no matter who provides what, then I don't know what will. I don't get it at all. I'm gonna be pissing off people. I'm not making the people who sent it happy. I'm not doing myself any favors at all with this sort of review. But I am doing you favors. That's my goal. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But for me, it's a big fat no. Unless you're really into the line, then you can find some redeeming qualities. Okay, that's it for me. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.